Good evening to some people, and good night to some people, but to me, good morning. I am once again on working on my fake job on the real night shift, and a lot of you haven't asked what my fake job is, and I'm glad about that because I wouldn't tell you anyway. So we got that one out of the way. But I did have sort of a surprise. I'm actually I'm not in film school, but I am trying to adjust my webcam. So, and let's see. Okay, hold on. Since really I don't care to share my facial it's not facial recognition, but my face with the with the I'm learning as I go along, and I can see that a lot of other people are as well that get into my computer. They're learning slowly not to get into my computer, but they're not learning quickly enough. And so the way that I have the way that I have started my morning off, which is an early morning for me, very early, is that I woke up and I noticed, which wasn't hard to do, that a drive had been opened, and that the contents of that drive, computer drive of course, had been placed on my desk. And what that was a bunch of images that I've collected along the way, and some files. So I'm wondering to myself and to you now out loud, how did those files get there? And I don't, it wouldn't be that hard for me to figure out, and I probably already know. But there were several image files. There were some zip files that I had zipped. There were, let's see, then I also found some shortcuts to my own personal property that I wouldn't have put there. But when I say shortcut, I mean a little HTML browser shortcut to some place within one of my drives, on either online, or but basically online, or on my computer. And so that was my way of starting the evening, which means, or the morning, which means that just upon waking up, just getting out of bed for me is never usually complication free. So a lot of people, I know I used to, when I would get up out of bed, my ex-husband and I, well, the first thing we would do was have coffee and read the paper, and nobody bothered us. No friends, or what, I wouldn't call them friends, but no one was, first of all, conducting surveillance on us. We might even have coffee and newspaper in bed, and usually we did as a ritual, sort of every morning, even on the weekdays before work or school, which for us was the same. Work and school were the same thing, and so we would lay there in bed and read the paper and drink the coffee, and not have to worry about extra items showing up in our house during the night that had been taken and then replaced sometime later, up to 6 months or something. So that's how I sort of see this, is that I get out of bed, of course, here up on the night shift, and the first thing I do is I come to my computer. But that's not the first thing I did. The first thing I did, of course, were just, daily activities of living, and that includes, the hygiene, the making of the coffee, the drinking of the water, going for a little brisk walk to keep myself in shape. Then I looked at a couple of twatterias. Actually, I had some good tweets tonight, because there was somebody who had a birthday, and it didn't look like they were being threatened. It was really nice, because a lot of us do know that birthdays for many of us are like any other holiday, that they do come with this feeling of death. A lot of people are saying Happy Death Day now, because of the 1 year extension to live that a lot of the younger people get. that you can clean up if you clean up your act and set this goal, then you have a 1-year extension given to you by some elderly people who I think are actually using our very biological resources to stay alive, because it's really strange. I had gotten a report in 2016 that three people had passed away, and they're still alive. It's really strange. They they're not they're not exactly the kind of people that you'd want to share your phone number with. Uh, I know I don't. But back to what I was saying about the files. So I've gotten some of the files. I've got this go cyberlink not member.txt, which is probably me trying to reinforce this me not being involved in your life. And I think you know who you are. And then also at the end of this link of the membership.go cyberlink.com, and I'll get into that go, it's a prefix later in more detail. And customer number, channel. Okay, channel equals OEM. Okay, now this is one of the things that I found as I was trying to file away some of the images that had come from this mysterious drive and been returned onto my desktop, which I'm glad to have them back. But of course, one thing leads to another, and here you go. I have a new navigation for the internet in my Microsoft OneDrive, which is just basically a launching of people to get into my stuff. There is a shortcut, HTML shortcut to purple wallpaper, which, hey, that's pretty fascinating stuff, I guess. I mean, if you're out there and you're thinking, hey, man, I want to see Sherry's purple wallpaper that she made in Illustrator, then I'm thinking, well, you're really hard up, because you could just get online and do, I gave a tutorial on how to Google something, but it's just putting the texts in the rectangular text box. You could use the Google, you could use the Yahoo, you could use Bing. There are many of them out there. And then in my Microsoft OneDrive, there's also a link, an HTML link to the whole entire notebook. So I'm going to go ahead and delete those as sort of a persistent saying of the word "get out of my stuff." Yes, I do want to delete them. And hi Microsoft Software out there, who provides a lot of the tech support for the criminally insane, and just wanted to say hello to him, and hopefully his life is pampered and great, and as he is able to stay up basically these superhuman hours and sort of do everything I do. And we were friends. I'm disappointed. But let's get back to that OEM, because I actually own, of course, I own the actual software, but I own a copy of Windows 7 OEM. And to use OEM software is not the same as buying an operating system and just installing it on your computer. I'm going to get a little bit into that, because I have gotten two computers within the past year or so, because mine don't last long with the sharing of them. The cult, the local cult, does feel free to steal all of my stuff and use that in their business endeavors, whatever they may be, or I can call them business. But let's see here, the OEM, that's an original manufacturing product. So there's a whole set of rules that go along with using OEM. It's not a reversion. So we've got that whole version or reversion of a version. Okay, that's not really even a word. That's not a word that they have in tech support. So if you have reversioned a version of software, that's not an acceptable standard. You can get on GitHub and you can use versioning software on that platform of GitHub, but you don't reversion a version. That's the same as just saying, hey, I stole your stuff. So OEM, what goes into using OEM software, which I have had someone do. I even bought I bought 2 computers at a store that had OEM. Didn't look at that. That I have this very USB drive with the. I'm gonna have to look into that one because I get this OEM and this little thumb drive, and I'm just going to use this here as a virtual or visual, not a virtual. Not quite totally as virtual as some are right now, living in the DVR world. And just basically a backup of themselves. So I open my the OEM, and instantly I'm reminded that right beside me there's this thumb drive. I don't like it when they use a body part. I call it a pin drive, or just a USB. It's a USB stick is what I call it. So here we go. So when I look up OEM, I see what the definition, which would be an original equipment manufacturer. So it doesn't just apply to software. You could use it for parts of anything. And my big thing is right now is I happen to know that investing, don't ask me why, because I won't tell you, but I would invest in GM. Little tip. Future out there. OEM, original equipment manufacturer. I'd invest in General Motors parts if I were you, and we'll see what happens with that. Typically, the things I say will cause markets in other countries to increase their interest rates based on what's happening here in the U.S. as financial optimism grows with certain people who are becoming even more in debt. So now there's how does one use original. In fact, I've got the actual. A lot of people want to use this, and I try to explain to them that you can't just use this. This is an example of an original equipment manufacturing copy of Windows 7. And so if anyone out there, and I know that you are using it, if anyone out there is using it, this is what I'm going to explain right now. There's a whole, it's not just something you say, hey, Sherry, I'm going to cause a lot of death and destruction using your computer equipment. And we didn't think you'd notice, but I noticed right away, and I've noticed that it's escalated, and it's been going on for several years. So where's the proof? And that was actually a religious guy who said that in the first place. It had to do with where's the proof of Osama bin Laden being dead, and then he may not have been the original religious person. Gosh darn it! If I knew how to do the videography, this would be a lot easier. So here we go. We've got an original equipment manufacturing copy of Windows 7, which I own. I spent the money to buy it, and it doesn't come with a license. It's Windows 7 Home Premium. Now there's another copy of Windows 7 that I have. It's called Windows 7 Ultimate. But that one you can actually install on another copy of Windows 7, and you get a pretty powerful operating system. But in order to use Windows 7 Home Premium original equipment manufacturer, you have to go through, and here's the disc, just to show you that I actually have a physical copy of this. And it's got the Service Pack 1 on it for product support, contact manufacturer of your PC, right on the Windows 7 disc. So it's kind of shiny. It's a little bit different than a normal DVD. It's I'm not sure. It's got a lot of pretty little rainbow things on the side, the outer rim of the disc. I'm going to put this back because I do have the physical copy because I own it. And that you're going to find that to be true. You're going to find that to be true with a lot of software. I'm showing you some, I hate to do this, but of course I was injured today. So there may be, even though this is the green room and you're seeing a really clean version of what's going on here, you may from time to time see a crime scene here as I speak, or hear one going on. But we're going to move beyond that, and this would be another piece of software that I've owned for years, and I have the only physical piece of software of this. It's called Kaspersky Lab, and before the presidential election, I made a comment on how in Russia they do know how to make some of the most virulent malware, but they also have one of the strongest operating systems. I'm sorry, one of the strongest antivirus and firewall programs. A lot's happened with that since the election, and actually before that, which people aren't really aware of because this is a different type of a place that I live in, where you do have, no, it's not that different from the rest of the world. It's a pretty crazy place right now. It's not the majority of people that are making it that way, but it's a few. Be some of the people who are taking it upon themselves to do the tech support for people who have told them to get out of their life. So that's not really tech support. That's breaking and entering. That's trespass. And it's also, at this point, I hate to use this word, but it's also involved with human trafficking and war crimes. So get that one out of the way. And so Kaspersky. Now, what about Kaspersky? Well, Kaspersky is a Russian-based, very, very good firewall and everything. And in order to fuck that up, someone actually had to have physical access to my computer. So that person was not in Russia when they had that. And I have some friends here in town who are from Eastern Bloc countries, and also friends in New Jersey who are from countries that were under the control of the CCCP at one point. They were Latvian, to be specific. And where was I? Oh, so I have kept track. I can't use any of this. This you can use because I mean, not you, me. I can use this software legally because it is a consumer's piece of software. This would be the OEM software, and there's a way that you have to use it. You can't just reversion it, which that word makes me want to beat my computer to death. Wow. So how does one use original equipment manufacturing software? Well, first of all, I'm going to tell you this. It doesn't come with any drivers, okay? You're supposed to build the computer from the ground up. You're not supposed to reversion it on using all of my other equipment to make an illegal operating system that apparently somebody's making a profit off of it. So let's read this definition real quick, and it even uses the word Acme in it, which is near and dear to my heart because I make stationery on quote-unquote Mars. I make stationery, and my Acme stationery was stolen from me. And okay, an original equipment manufacturing company that produces parts and equipment that may be marketed by another manufacturer. For example, if Acme Manufacturing Company makes power cords, I'm about to lose it here, makes power cords that are used on IBM computers, Acme is OEM. Never actually heard anyone. There is actually a company called Acme. There are many companies called Acme, so I'm not sure why this would have the word Acme in it. Let's look up how they define Acme. Acme explosive tennis balls, or Acme wrought anvils, or whatever that says. Acme Corporation is a fictional corporation, which is bullshit. It is not a fictional corporation. There are companies called Acme. Fictional corporation features prominently in Warner Brothers animated shorts, more specifically Roadrunner, Wile E, Coyote. Okay, this is very strange. The company name in the Roadrunner cartoon, ironic, since the word acme is derived from the Greek. English translation acme meaning peak, zenith, or prime. So right there, I see a problem. Warner Brothers. Now, what about Warner Brothers? What about the UB modem that was stolen from somebody who has had a contract with Warner Brothers in the past? Went from being a very, very expensive modem to being a piece of trash and a piece of shit that they sell on eBay and what's the other one? Sell it on eBay and I don't know, some other crap thing. Acme. Okay, now somebody's got a problem here because they've got some really cute. The Acme Corporation is a fictional, and I don't know if this actually has anything to do with Warner Brothers, but they're really connecting it here. Acme Corporation is a fictional corporation that features prominently in Warner Brothers animated shorts. But there are companies, there are companies that do use Acme. So I used it generically. In fact, there's a janitorial and chemical supply company right in Fort Smith called Acme Janitorial and Chemical Supply, and Acme Brick and Tile and Stone. And they are on Twitter. They have a social media presence. They have patents on Albertsons, Jewel, American Stores, Albertsons company. That's weird. Albertsons is a grocery store that I used to go to in Boulder sometimes. Apparently, they're linked with people also searched for ShopRite, Albertsons, Acme Super Value, and they're on Facebook, Pinterest. Acme Markets. Acme Markets Inc. is a supermarket chain in the Delaware Valley and New York City. So that's kind of contradicting completely what they're saying here, which that the Acme explosive tennis balls, which apparently are associated with Road Runner, Wile E. Coyote, and ironic. Yeah, it is ironic. Generic. But anyway, so apparently some people and Sears. Early Sears catalogs even contained a number of products with the Acme trademark. So, in other words, what they're saying is it's not a fictional company that Warner Brothers came out with Merry Melodies, Looney Tunes, and other basic lies that are on Wikipedia, with no editorial commentary saying that they might want to be careful. So, anyway, now that this is kind of how my day goes. And any computer problem, when you start looking into it, and it's like a Pandora's box. You open it, and it's just full, like the snakes just start flying out. So back to this computer software. Microsoft is a popular example of a company that, this is bullshit too, is a company that uses OEM software for Windows operating system. And this is a paid, obviously, someone either paid or stole this place on Wikipedia. OEM product keys are priced lower than their retail counterparts, but use the same software as retail versions of Windows. They are primarily direct OEM manufacturer system builders, and as that typically sold in volume licensing deals to a variety of manufacturers, HP, Dell. I'm not sure why they're mentioning brands, but they're mentioning HP. They're not saying Hewlett Packard. They're just saying HP, which is a partner. HP, Dell, and Toshiba. Individuals may also purchase them for personal use. That's bullshit. You cannot, to include virtual hardware. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to star this particular because it's not true. If you are going to use OEM software, you literally have to call Microsoft and register the license. So clearly we've found someone committing a crime here right on Wikipedia, and they also talk about OEM keys will be rejected. So anyway, I'm thinking of a guy out there who's done this, and I'm getting more and more angry as I think about that. because I am the one who owns the OEM version of Windows 7, and I've explained to people over and over that you have to call and register the license with. It is not for virtualization. It is not for virtualization. It is for building a computer from the ground up. They've even mentioned more brand names on here with the OEM. I'm going to put this one under legal research and network security. So don't worry, these people will not be detoured in their quest for being assholes and idiots. Network security as well, because I do have that noticed that there's that very incompliant PCI network. Michael, you're going to fucking prison for the rest of your life. You should stay off my computer. And I didn't say any last name. It could be somebody in California. I've known many in my life. I even went to prom with someone named Michael. So if you're taking this personally and you're out there watching this, then that's your own guilty conscience. Because, like I said, I went to prom with a guy named Michael, and there's a guy named Michael Moore who does on TV stuff, and there's a lot out there. So try not to crap out, as we say here in Greenwood. Autolite spark plugs, Ford. These are all the ones they've included with OEM. Engine blocks, heads, Champion, Die Hard, aftermarket, Windows, product keys, motherboard, hardware, Windows 7. And like I said, this is it, folks. This is that disk that I own, that I know how to use and therefore didn't use. Because why? First of all, because you have to call and get a valid license after you build the computer from the ground up. Not only that, but it doesn't come with any drivers, which is why you have to build the computer. It is not for virtualization, just like VirtualBox is not for virtual DHCP servers and all the other virtual things that were on there that I'm not going to mention. Okay, OEMs rely on their ability to drive down the cost of production through economies of scale. That is your pipe dream. That's not true. It was a way to for Windows to get rid of a bunch of Windows 7 OEM disks after Windows 7 was no longer being sold. So this entire article is bullshit. Private label, rebranding, no. Store brand, no. Original design, manufacturer, ODM. This is EMS, Electronic Manufacturing Services. I can almost like see the graves being dug deeper, or the prison cells being locked harder, because you're making me so angry with this crap. Okay, this Kaspersky disk is not OEM because it comes with a license. This is OEM. It does not come with a license. You have to register it after you build the computer, not after you do a type of, I don't know if it's real virtualization or not, but it's that Ralinx router and the pervert telephones that go with it. So what else do we have tonight? Back to the drive that was unloaded on my desktop with a bunch of pictures that I was missing. I'm going to just take a little look and a peek here at what pictures showed up after I received back these pictures that were being kept on that drive. Ironically, I already knew when I heard that there was a rock singer star, or whatever they are, a performance person, a recording artist, who had a birthday and had a drive. I knew immediately that that drive was probably not a drive just for funding, but that it had to do with a computer drive, or what I would call a silo, or a pit, or a small data swamp, or a big data swamp. Any way you want to take a look at it. So I took all those images that were returned to me on somebody else's birthday. And we've got, several that I have been missing. It's really strange. This person is so interested in me. I'm not sure why. It's more than one. It's more than one person who wants to live life not just vicariously through me, but with a physical connection. And it's disgusting. So I'm still looking for. I have a little radio transmitter that's. I found a little picture of it right here. I'll post that one. And I'm working with that. It's a little. It can be used as a little shortwave. It's not safe to do this, so I wouldn't advise it. And somebody may have already stolen it out of my bedroom. I'm not sure. A lot of people like to snitch stuff like that just because they think that it has some value to me. So I'm not really concerned if they find it or got it, because first of all, it's really dangerous to use as a shortwave radio. I learned how to do it from this old man named Nathan who worked with the Eisenhower administration. And I'm not sure if he's still alive because he was really elderly when I knew him. I've forgotten what his job was, but it was a pretty big deal job for somebody, but it was way before my time. It was before I was born. And we were friends for a while, and then that friendship was cut off because of anti-Semitism, and that was sad for me. A lot of people wanted to experience that relationship that I had, that friendship that I had with this elderly married man through me and through my accounts. And eventually I lost track of him and I forgot what. Oh, look here. Sarah Silverman's posting on Twitter. And it says, yep, a woman does die young. It means she's still alive. Yep, when a woman dies, when a woman doesn't die young, it means she's still alive. That's a logical statement. I like that. It's just, she says, when a woman doesn't die young, it means she's still alive. So, I'm gonna. I look at Twitter and I see these posts and I'm like, why do these people that are living life in and through me and my stuff and through other people, probably some of the people that are posting right now, go away. We don't like, or I'm not going to speak for anyone else, but I don't like you. I don't like you to be in my life. I don't like fraud, and I don't like theft, and I don't like causing injuries to I don't like to see people getting hurt. And I'm going to repeat again that I don't like you. We're not friends. Stay away from me. And thank you for giving me my files back. But there was also somebody logged into my password vault with me, which I log people out of several times a day. And I guess what keeps me going is knowing that I am contributing in an extremely, extremely large way to your life imprisonment. And I like that. Feels good. Feels right. It's not a romance, but it gives me that same feeling of knowing, it's a sort of fuel for me, being with my background of being someone who does notice, inconsistencies with the truth, inconsistencies with sorry. Sometimes I talk like this, it's kind of like sarcastic. So I'm going to leave that. Inconsistencies with being alive. So anyway, that's a long video, a little rambling video there, but there was a lot to cover with the OEM and the Acme. So sorry about all the snorting and sniffing. I have a cold, and it's dry here. It's dry, cool. It's a dry cold. It's a dry cold here. Not a dry heat, but a dry cold. And all right. So good night for now.